Recently, Jace and I and Christoph, we decided to go on a crazy adventure and we walked to the most remote pub in Scotland, in the UK actually. It's an 18-mile walk and it starts off from Glenfinnan all the way to a small town called Inverie. Walk to a pub. Is it worth it? Is it worth walking 18 miles to get to a pub?
No.
Yes it is. Alright. Yes it is. I just want you to kind of follow us and watch this journey that we went through because it had so many ups and downs, and you know, obviously as you can expect, walking through Scotland into the wild, it's not always easy. But yeah, so that morning we decided to set off, what time was it?
Whenever you want to meet up, it's usually around 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I think it was because we needed to catch a bus. The only way we could really think of doing it and it all working out was actually to travel to Mallaig, which is where the ferry, actually, you can get the ferry from there to Inverie. So that, I mean, that would be the most straightforward route. If you want to go to the Old Forge and you didn't want to do this whole long distance walking and stuff like that, it takes 2 days, and you just want to go to the pub, well, you can take the ferry, but
there's no fun in that.
There's no fun in that. The cool thing is, at the start of the walk, you are at Glenfinnan, right? Now, Glenfinnan is really famous because of a train bridge that it's called the Glenfinnan Viaduct. If you stay there from 10:30 or 3 PM from July to October, you get to see the Harry Potter train actually cross over, which is really cool. So I think we waited for at least half an hour because it was slightly delayed, but yeah, it's such a cool train that just kind of goes past. You see all the smoke coming from the top, and yeah, if you love Harry Potter, then that is one of the places to go and, you know, check out. If you didn't want to see that, you could actually set off a lot earlier, which gives you a lot more time to walk through the day.
We wanted to do it in 2 days,
Yeah.
and not push it. You can't really afford to sit and wait for the train.
No, I don't think so.
It's advisable to leave before that, for sure, as we found out.
Yeah, because you know, the first stretch of that walk is quite nice. I mean, it's not too steep, but then maybe a few hours into the walk, you pass by the first bothy. I think it's called Curry's bothy, and so you pass by that bothy, and then you get to a very steep incline where it just kind of keeps going all the way up to the top, and that's the bit where we lost Jace.
Yep.
Hey, making good time. So here we are. Been walking for about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. Look at that. It's a magical day. Amazing blue skies. Love it. I've fallen a little bit behind. I haven't seen Michael and Christoph in, well, it feels like forever, but I'm sure they're up there. They said follow the river. I've conquered that so far, which actually doesn't even seem that far considering the effort. It looks like I'm halfway up this, but I don't know. I mean, that is magnificent. Alright, back we go. He followed the wrong river.
You thought it was dead?
No, honestly, I thought, you know what, it came to maybe an hour or two, like a little bit more than an hour, and I didn't see Jason. I told Christoph, I was like, where's Jace? And he said, I told him to follow the river. And then he just kind of pointed some direction and then kept walking, and Jace followed a different river because there was 2 rivers, I guess. And that river took him all the way up to this other mountain. So it turns out they were at the bottom of the hill. There's a river that goes that way too, not up there. So yeah, all that for nothing. At least I got a good view out of it. That did take maybe an hour off the kind of the walk that we should have done. So that was the first bit of the trip. Now after that, we kind of grouped together again. We're all happy to see each other. It gets really boggy, right? It gets really difficult to walk on because it's up and down, you know, boggy terrain, which is basically, if you don't know what boggy terrain is, it's basically just mud. Your feet is getting sucked into mud and you're just trying to pull yourself out, and you know, you can see some rocks, you know, and some kind of bits of grass where you think, okay, right, those might be safe to kind of put your foot on, but sometimes it's not, and you end up just kind of falling through. What happened through a certain point, which we walked through the bog, and we found a nice road.
So there's a bothy that's about 6 miles away. Your expertise is saying we're probably not going to get there today, right? Yeah, I think it's just let's want to keep walking when it's dark, you know. I mean, it's been really boggy, so it really depends if the rest of the route's okay or not. But
I've been on my arse like,
you know,
5 times.
It'd be nice to set up camp somewhere, get a wee fire going, you know, get a wee fire.
I think so.
Yeah, we've had some food.
I think we've had a good day. I mean, if it stays like this terrain here, then
We'll pick up some pace for sure. But
I had an app, right, and it's called Komoot. Right, now this app allows you to kind of GPS and follow different tracks and paths. Unfortunately, sometimes the GPS doesn't link up properly and you kind of think you're on the right path. Or sometimes you get so excited that you're on a path that you kind of think, you know what, this must be it. This must be, I mean, come on, this must be it. So you're kind of walking on this nice path because you know what, the bog's kind of got to. So you kind of keep walking now. The problem is, maybe an hour into the path, looked back in the GPS and it kind of moved and shifted, and it looked like it was all the way up at a different location, parallel to this road. But it was over another incline, over another hill, and it's, you know, we could have went all the way back round, but why do that when it's nicer just to kind of go up and join the path again, right?
so we took the wrong route, and that meant we had to make quite a big incline to join it again. Woo! I am sweaty.
From October onwards to December, the sun kind of starts to set a lot quicker. So we knew that actually we were limited with time before it becomes pitch black. And you do not want to be getting stuck in bog and climbing uphill and downhill when you can't really see anything. We had a few hours left and we had to walk all the way down, but the only way to go all the way down was actually to walk through the forest down the hill. Jace, how did you find it?
I was miserable.
Yeah, but you know what was cool? You know what was cool? I found it's actually back there is Alright, so this is a souvenir, I would say, from the old forge. That really cool deer antlers. Now, you can only find these things if you kind of walk astray, you know, and I think I wouldn't have been able to find this and pick it up and strap it to my back if we didn't actually go that route. So that was actually really cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you.
Thanks, man. That is like...
Oh my god. I'm walking through that for about an hour. So you get for having a wrong turn.
So yeah, we managed to get out. We managed to find the path again. Felt ecstatic about being able to join this path because we knew now we have a path. We're not gonna get lost. Kind of know where we are. We need a place to set a fire, to make some food, you know, and just relax and get a good sleep because, you know what, we've got another day ahead to get to the old forge. On that day, we did a bit more than halfway. I think it must have been around 10 miles. I did have a preference to kind of walk a bit further along that day, just to kind of give us more time, because we kind of got lost.
Yeah.
And so on.
What was the name of the place that you wanted to stop at?
So there's a bothy called Suri's Bothy that's kind of along the way. So there's two bothies. There's Curry's Bothy and there's Suri's Bothy. Basically, as you get to Suri's Bothy, it's next to Loch Nevis, right? And yeah, it just kind of joins there. And yeah, so that's kind of the place where we wanted to get to, because from there to actually Inverie is not that far in terms of distance. However, you do have to climb a humongous mountain, which is very close to hitting the point of a Munro. So the next day we decided, we woke up, we had breakfast, we set it off. remember we had to cross over this bridge, this really cool bridge. I mean, most of it was rotten and broken, and when you're walking on it, you probably think it's going to collapse, right? But crossed over that. The path is a lot easier the next day. However, if you're exhausted from the day before, right, it's obviously still going to be quite tricky. But yeah, I mean, you know what? I think what made it amazing was the weather. It was perfect, you know, for Scotland. You couldn't have asked for like nicer weather during that time. We managed to get to Surrey's Bothy, and basically I remember kind of just going ahead, and I was there. I could see Jace and Christoph coming from behind, and they were absolutely shattered. They got there, they just collapsed onto the floor. At this point, we were kind of all not sure if we were gonna make it.
Yeah, it was 1:30.
It was 1:30 at that point. We decided to set off. We seen some deers. We passed by the deers, and it gets boggy again. Again, with just you kind of having to hop and maneuver and see like the best bits to put your feet, you know, so you don't sink all the way in. And then we come across this guy. We said, "Hey, did you walk from Inverie?" And he said, "Yeah, from Inverie." Yeah. And then we asked him, "Oh, did you get to the pub? Did you see? Was it open?" We're so excited to find out more whether this pub actually exists. If this wasn't some kind of mad fairy tale or some kind of hoax that this most remote pub actually is there, you know. So he said, "Yeah, it's there, but it's closed." So didn't really. I guess that kind of slowed down our pace a little bit, or at least it kind of put a bummer on the kind of the walk from that point. But
yeah, considering we got that news right at the bottom.
Right at the bottom of this hill, this last incline that we had to get up and over and down. That was the last kind of pinnacle point before you kind of go on the slope down to Inverie. And you know what? I think deep down, we all kind of felt like maybe there is a chance that it could still be open. Maybe there's something. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. You know what? We've got this far. Let's just do it. Let's just walk. We got to the top, and we headed down the slope into Inverie. And at this point, it's so nice because you kind of see Inverie in the distance, or you see the kind of the sea in the distance, and it's nice to know where you're trying to head.
We finished the final descent. It was all the way up there, and now it's just this path to take us to Inverie. But we've been told that the pub is shut. Which kind of is a little bit demotivating, but we're not sure if it's true. Inverie is pretty much at the bottom of that mountain on the left.
We got to a certain point where we seen a bridge where this was the funny bit. It was a bridge where
essentially the GPS told us not to cross the river.
Yeah.
Right? But at the other side of the river was this glorious path, whereas on the side that we were at was just bog, hills, and not a lot of nice.
No. Decided to take the GPS route, right? Because we thought, well, I mean, the GPS must be telling the truth because it's kind of told us the truth.
And so the last time you didn't listen to it, you made us climb over a mountain that we didn't cross.
Yeah. Like we thought we'd already been through the boggiest bog. Whatever that means. Like we've been through yet, but actually this took us through even worse route where, you know, you're kind of coming to, you know, just below your knees, you'll just go through some mud and it'll just be so difficult. And at one point, we realised we had to cross over a stream. This river that we crossed over was not just kind of a nice little, like, oh, you know, well, there's rocks and stuff we can kind of climb over, we'll just get our feet wet. No, you literally had up to your knees, just above your knees. And you know what, at this point, you don't care if you get soaking wet. No, you don't care because screw it, you know what? We're tired, we're hungry, you know, we just want to make it there. We all managed to cross over, we walked on the path, got to a nice path, and it's getting pitch black. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock at that point, And I know the last meal orders are 9:30 is when basically the kitchen closes. So, you know, being hopeful that it's still open, we're like, right, we still need to make it, so we still need to push to get there. And yeah, I'm exhausted actually telling the story because thinking back, it was actually at that point, I remember we were all really exhausted. It was pitch black, we had no food, and we weren't sure if it was going to be open. We didn't know where we were going to camp that night. And yeah, in the distance, we seen a light. Hey, Jace, we have arrived. And what time is it?
It's just gone about 20 past 9.
20 past 9.
We've been walking for 12 hours today.
Woo! Alright, now the moment of truth. Is this pub open?
Oh my God.
Alright, this is us recording after 2 days of walking to see if it is open. Because we're not too sure. There's a wee shop there. Alright. Oh, what else is here? Mate, it might be open, I hear noise. I hear noise too. Mate, it's open. Open! Yes! So yeah, we got in there and actually we had some nice mussels and
the guy was just closing the kitchen.
The guy was just closing the kitchen.
That's the spare mussels going.
And he had some pretty expensive spare mussels going.
Very expensive spare mussels.
The question was it worth it? Was it worth it to go to the most remote pub in Britain? Going through the wilderness, through bog, getting lost, going through rivers, partially not knowing if this pub was going to be open. That feeling, was it worth it? Was it worth it, Jace?
I'm gonna say yeah.
I think there's something about it. I mean, you could take the ferry, right, and you could go and visit there. But there's something extra special about actually walking through parts of Scotland to get to the most remote pub. There's something about it which it's like a reward in itself, because you know, so you could do a lot like a walk. You could do a 2-day, 3-day, a week-long walk, but knowing that there's an actual destination, a place where you want to end up and see, you know, I think it just makes that extra bit more special. You know, it adds something to it. And yeah, I mean, you know what? I think I would do it again. I mean, actually, I probably would love to try do it in one day.
We walked for 9 hours the first day.
Yeah, 9
and
hours.
then 12 and a half the next. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd need to get a bit fitter if I was to do that, but I think you could probably do it in a day.
I would love to do more adventures like this, and this is what basically Fiodh, the brand is all about. It's about kind of Scotland and showing you all these cool places, and you know, say tying that in with what I do, which is make amazing kind of timepieces, you know, and talking about the kind of histories and the heritages of Scotland and the adventures, because you know what, I love challenging myself. I love adventures. If you've got suggestions for different places and challenges around Scotland that you'd like me to try and attempt and do, I'm always keen to do it, because you know, I'd love to push myself to certain limits to see if I can do it. And
there's literally nothing he won't do.
No, you know what, I get excited about these crazy things. So keep following the page, keep following the adventures, keep following Fiodh. Alright, so catch you next time.